I do not believe any person is born wanting to die, or cause disasters to others. I do not believe any society comes about with the intent to tear itself apart in disaster. No one here certainly did. Neither of the two major loosely allied groups, in the old world, wanted to destroy it. They wanted power, control, and revenge from the many wrongs that had been done in years past. The many loved ones, the millions of casualties that seemed so needlessly and carelessly killed, all were reasons why they could not let it rest. And in our new society that was started with so much hope, and so much desire for peace, we saw things going wrong and felt so powerless to stop it. There were so many times that each and every one of us lost hope and wanted to give up. Between our sense of duty for starting this society, and between the growing support that we were increasingly able to give each other, we somehow managed to get through one day, and then the next. The cruel thing about time for us is how much there was of it in those years. The trial by fire period, as we now call it, did not last just tens, or even hundreds of years, but many thousands, all told. We came into it bright-eyed, and ecstatic, and out the amazing technology that allowed us to do what had always thought to be impossible. We left that period with a society and culture that was refined by the struggles that we went through, to one that no one would have been able to imagine back then. And the technology we had now would only seem like magic to you watching this history. But then there was also the hope and excitement that came with discoveries that we never dreamed of before, that were so new and promising. These did give us hope and direction. This scene takes place several years after the council meeting, where the two families were assigned the project of researching interactions with people and with drugs and alcohol.
Hey, Mom and Dad, you can come in. It is ready now.
Hi there. What is my wonderful daughter doing making cake in a laboratory? Cake is always appreciated, but we do have a kitchen.
Well, I was already here, and wanted cake, so I made some. Oh, by the way, do you remember the assignment we were given to study the effects of not having alcohol and drugs?
How could I not? It's not like we drank all that much before, but everyone else got the more realistic option to study moderation, and we drew the short straw, and have been dry these many years, since that meeting. Hopefully we can all finish with the study, and fix the problem causing so much abuse, so we can get to a healthy routine.
Here, have some cake. It's really yummy.
Wow, I never realized how much I love you. You are such a good daughter. I feel so close to you right now. I think I am going to cry because you mean so much to me and my sweet wife. How could I be so blind for not appreciating you even more than I already do? I miss you so much and I see you all the time, but that is not enough. Wow.
I know, I feel that too. I love you both so much. I do not know how I did not see it this well yet. You are the most amazing people in the world. I am so happy, I am crying.
10 minutes later.
It blows my mind how special you both are to me. Please never ever leave me. I love you so much. Don't worry, Mom and Dad. I love you so much too. And also, I put custom-made hormones in the cake. Surprise. What? Why? Well, you are so wonderful and I love you so much. I just cannot help but trust you completely.
I know. Normally I would be a little mad, but I realize now you are so amazing that how can we not trust and love you like crazy?
As you both know, parents naturally have bonding hormones to their kids, and to each other to a certain degree. Using your cell samples, I was able to make some adjustments to their potency and longevity. Since we were the ones assigned to research alternatives to drugs and alcohol, I came up with this solution. These are not like drugs, because they are nature's way of helping us to be closer. They do not give you an artificial high, or make you crash afterwards. This should be completely safe, and also have the side benefit of helping us be less lonely, and you two even more forgiving. I am excited about what we can do with this.
Can you bake some cake for the next council meeting? I think it would be a big surprise that they really need to see for themselves.
Yeah, sure. It will be a lot of work, so I will need some more help, but we can do it. Do you think they will be mad?
Well, they were very interested in seeing results from what we came up with, so it will be very appropriate, even if it does happen to be a little funny.
It is very hard for those with limited lifespans to imagine what goes on in a psychological level, with people over extreme long time frames. Excitement, adventure, romance, what happens with these, once the new has worn off? How about 10 years, 100 years, or 500 years after that? What happens when you have been everywhere worth visiting? Or cooked and eaten everything worth eating, thousands and thousands of times? There are just different priorities and challenges that come up then.
Looking at a deeper level, what really happens with the first time you touch your lips, in a tender kiss, or feel the gentle caress of a hand, or a body pressed close to yours, the first time, it is so new and exciting. The body is on overdrive with hormone production. The many centers of the brain are lit up with excitement. Senses are on overdrive. Your pulse, respiration, and perspiration change, among many other things. You are flooded with natural chemicals that make you feel oh so good. It is a fleeting moment that you want to hold on forever. With your memories, and with trying to recapture that feeling, over and over again. It is one of the most powerful events in our lives.
But the body and mind get used to it. The levels of these activities cannot stay the same forever. Some couples find a good routine where a deep emotional connection starts to slowly take the place of some of the lower levels of those processes in the body. The excitement, emotions, and hormones might lessen, but they stabilize to sustainable levels.
And others go from person to person to keep the excitement alive. The slightly different hormones each person makes, and the different experiences that it gives, help to keep all of the processes in our bodies that make us feel oh so good, going at higher levels, for more years. Alcohol and drugs have similar problems when it comes to longevity.
It increases the dopamine levels in your brain, among many other effects, and makes us feel better. We can feel that we get along better with others, or that we are having a better time when we are drinking alcohol. Over time though, it gives less pleasurable effects, and more of the bad effects. People get addicted, and the toxic effects can ruin the body.
The depressing effects it had made us feel worse, not better over time, and led many to be more stagnant, do less work, and interact in normal healthy activities less. We became very good as a society with automation and robotics. With the combined effects of automation and the stagnation and laziness that we had, it was not just one person having to take care of the needs of another person. It was one person literally supplying the needs of 99 others. It put a tremendous strain on those who would still work and help, even if it were possible to automate more and reduce the strain off of the few. Human psychology does not work that well when people are that stagnant. Additionally, it puts ever-deepening strains on the relations between the families and friends who are working, and those that are not. Those healthy, sustainable relationships were getting damaged.
It took a long time for us to realize that alcohol and drugs caused more problems than they were worth. They were such a deeply embedded part of our history, it was hard to accept that we would all need to learn to let them go. What finally killed alcohol is that it was far too clumsy to keep defending. The cakes that we made for the Founders Council could not help but to open everyone's eyes about what we all really wanted. Alcohol does certainly have some great things that it does for us. In a short lifespan, managed well, it worked for many people. But in our lifespans, there were too many bad effects. We wanted the good, but did not want the bad. The cake showed us that it was very possible to have just the good without the bad. It was just not possible to use alcohol to achieve those results. No matter how you make it, it has the same effects, good and bad. The cake showed us that we had to get more specific than alcohol could ever do. We needed to manage the individual processes and hormones themselves to the optimal levels we wanted.
The human body, in a short lifetime, does a pretty decent job of managing the hormones, physical, and mental processes we need to be happy in our lives. After the cake incident, we all started working on ways to directly manage these chemicals and processes individually, to their most optimal levels. alcohol would no longer be needed at all, because we had better ways of getting and keeping our hormones and pleasure centers active than alcohol could ever do. And those ways were not toxic or addictive.
It turned out, we could use and modify the natural chemicals, hormones, and body processes to create a drastically more stable mental environment than was ever possible before. And these greatly helped, not hurt, relationships to others, and our enjoyment of all of the activities we had in life, better than before, and far better than with alcohol.
We started to look at alcohol and drugs as being older, clumsy drugs, for the first time. And also for the first time, we began to have hope and excitement of finding more effective tools than we ever had before. But with something so deeply entrenched in society as were drugs and alcohol, changing the society would be difficult, even with something that made us feel better from day to day than the clumsy drugs could.
See, we already had digital drugs, and digital ways of stimulating, and overstimulating all areas of the mind. Even with that, there are long-term damaging effects because the mind cannot be constantly artificially manipulated into those types of very high excitement levels. Working with the natural processes in sustainable, yet powerful ways, to feel good, and be closer to everyone we care about, over long periods of time. This was not the overstimulated high that many had come to crave. Getting people to change would prove to be extremely challenging. Many people were so far gone that they refused every attempt we had at help, even with newer, better ways to detox and move forward.
While these things were exactly what we needed to learn how to move forward past these dark times, implementing the changes to help save society would lead us through the darkest times our society has ever had to face. Please stay tuned for the triumphs and tragedies to come. They shaped us as a society more than any other time period has.